Welcome to a special edition of Views from the Bridge, your second favorite Union podcast behind like that other one you guys listen to. For those of you worried at home, this is non-copyrighted French music, and my name is Paul Catrino Jr., here hosting tonight on a special occasion because Evan Villala is somewhere else. And we've got two other co-hosts that I'm happy to welcome aboard here. We have rocking the Brighton gear yet again. I'm loving it. This one, I think I like this better than last week's. It's got the neon in it. It's Justin Ashcraft. I wish you could see how cool this jacket looks.
Yep. There's your visual and audio. Anyway,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
good.
that's right. We're on YouTube.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's Brighton's off to Wembley, so that's a good point in the season to be.
Most definitely. Trying to click at the right point here. And trying to click on the right point of his screen to get this loaded up and on time is Chuck Booth. I don't mean to call you out on that. I'm just not as good as transitions as Evan is. How are
Uh-huh.
you, bud?
Sure. I am good. I'm here to talk about soccer. That allegedly happened.
All business. All right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Statistically, speaking, I think we should say, statistically, those who were worried about the Union in the Champions League probably didn't have a whole lot to worry about, despite one of our hosts here predicting that they would start 8 people, myself, because they needed to bolster a good lineup against this Alianza team.
You
Turns
predicted
out
that only 8 people would start the game?
8 starters would start the game. 8 starters would start the game. I set the over at 7.5. I set the over under at 7.5. They ended up bringing in 6 starters from the first game of the season. So I was incorrect. Congratulations to those who were under. But they didn't need all those starters. They won 4-0 in quite convincing fashion. Guys, it's at least just fun to see the Union do this, considering that not every MLS side made it out of this stage of the competition.
That's a true statement. That not every team made it out. Yeah, I didn't watch all of this game for sure. But I think the probably highlight of the game for me is that Pereira got off his started in his Union career with a double with a brace, and that's good to see.
Yeah, especially when you see that Quinn Sullivan hits that pass to Pereira and he's already celebrating before he even takes the touch to shoot. Because like that really does have to say that Pereira's been so clinical in training that like given these moments to shine, he's going to shine. And that's just great to see from one guy who's working to get into the starting rotation to another guy that's working to maybe get into the starting rotation.
It was also nice to finally see the Union play like they were actually up a man after a red card, and
Oh my
just
God.
absolutely dominate the game from that moment over. I mean, it was pretty clear early in this game that something ridiculous was going to happen for the Union to not win. Um, and luckily, that just didn't happen, and they took care of business, and are now moving on to face Atlas.
Yeah, Alianza definitely came into the game like oh, we're gonna foul, we're gonna see if we can get under the Union skin. It seemed like from the beginning of the game it was like, okay, the Union have to just keep their heads about them, not get into any crazy stupid fouls and stupid mental battles, but just play their game. And if they continue to just play their game, they were gonna win the game. And of course they did.
Yeah. Didn't really it didn't feel like it was too out of reach even going into that end of half. Damian Lowe gets it in half stoppage time, first minute of stoppage time, I believe. It's awesome to see him definitely up and running too. Shows that he can really do it on both ends. That was pretty nice. Always nice to see Gazdag sinking penalties. Definitely needs that confidence for when he's going to need it most, which is probably going to be in a way more stressful than it needs to be playoff game coming this October.
But
Yeah.
Paul, the Union aren't making the playoffs.
Yes, in the current MLS format, the Union will have to play about 18 playoff games before they see MLS final. It's a long and perilous journey. But yeah, the Union do that in Champions League. They're going to have some fun with their next opponent. In that competition, they did not have fun taking the trip up across the border to Montreal.
I mean, okay. Before you get too far into this game,
you want me to turn the car around?
Yeah, well, no.
I'll turn this car around.
No. I said it right after the game on our Twitter chat, but I feel like the Union played up until Carranza got the red card or yellow, second yellow, whatever. The Union probably played the best game of the season, as far as they were creating chances all game long, and they looked the better side. Until Carranza got the red card, and maybe even until 90 plus. I don't think that this was a game where I look at this game and go, oh shoot, the Union lost 3-2 and played the worst game of the season and blah 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 blah. It wasn't that. It was the first half of the game. I mean, the Union got off to a quick start and then played pretty well and looked pretty good for the rest of the half and passed the ball around and everything else. My comment to my wife at halftime was the Union are going to win this game like 4-1. I said, because they were creating, they looked like they were going to. And then Carranza got the second yellow. So before we get too far into the depressiveness of this game, I mean, I feel like this was actually a pretty good game until the 90th minute of the game,
where the final score ended up being 3-2 to Montreal. It's a loss. Boo! No, don't feel too bad about this, guys. That second goal for the Union, like the build-up from the back to was maybe one of the prettiest goals the Union have ever put together. So all y'all need to sit down and appreciate what you have here, build-up play-wise. Not to mention that Jose Martinez was involved in that build-up and did not bundle the pass. Well done, sir. Well done. Also, on the first UA goal, that was one of the nicest passes Jose Martinez has ever produced at that distance and range. I didn't even go directly to UA. It was just enough to let the deflection off the defender give him a chance. So, all the credit in the world to Jose. In the Champions League game, he did not get, overly aggressive, and he played the game they needed to dominate. And in this game, he really opened himself up as someone who's more versatile, which is great. But
so the red card killing the game is already kind of pretty straightforward, but Paul, how can you go to VAR and say no goal and then go back to VAR and say goal? And I get that the point of VAR is to make the right decision, and it probably should have ruled that it was a goal the first time. But in all of the soccer games that I have watched, I have never seen a referee go back to VAR twice to make a decision.
Chuck, you only watch 2 games a week, though, right? I mean, you don't watch that many soccer games.
Oh yeah, I actually, I mean, at this point, it's maybe half a game a week. That's it.
We just include Chuck because he's fun and he brings us tea and desserts. No, I mean, therein lies the problem, right? Hawkeye and VAR, which, by the way, I work for Hawkeye, and I am bound by some non-disclosure agreements to discuss things about the VAR process. Blah, 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 blah. Regardless, what I can say is that this is not a great look because they have all the technology in the world to be able to get this right the first time. Then that's the problem. You need to get that call. You need to have those angles available so that there are less stoppages in the game. That's the point of it, is to streamline the process. Get it right the first time. When you go back and you look at the second review and how obvious where Kai Wagner was in the play, you can't miss that. So how did they miss it the first time? I'm just confused there. If it's human error, let it be human error. You might not hear about what happens behind the scenes with it, but I can't imagine that it's going to be a pleasant conversation because that is a bad look for sure. It's just the nature of the beast there. Because it's infuriating. It's got to be. If you're a Union fan, I understand that you're infuriated at that. Surely.
And even
what was Jim's quote after the game? Jim gets up in his press conference, says, shit, mind.
I mean, that is a very appropriate summation of what happened. And even when it comes to camera angles with the new Apple TV deal, MLS has more camera angles than they've ever had available for every game whatsoever to make these decisions. And like, people wouldn't have been happy because you still concede a goal, but if that didn't have to take 2 times to be conceded, and it's also clear that impacted the game, which led to a third goal being conceded.
That is the absolute point of the nature. Like, that's what's at hand here. VAR was designed to streamline the process of getting decisions correct every time in a timely manner. Right? You created a more than 5-minute delay in a game at the pivotal moment in the game. Because why? And if you explain that it is human error based on the fact of camera angles, okay, something needs to be done about that. If there weren't enough camera angles, something really needs to be done about that. But something, regardless, will, if you're going to get the confidence back of people watching these games, make sure you get the and do so in a way that doesn't want your audience to tune out.
And Alejandro Bedoya's yellow card that is going to cause him to get suspended earlier than he would already be getting suspended at some point during this season shouldn't count.
No,
it shouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a look at it, but I don't know what much you can do there.
I mean, the reality is, like you said, really, like you said, the reality of VAR is you want to get the calls right. And because of VAR, the VAR official and the center referee to have to go to the monitor to get the position of every player on the field to figure out whether this goal was offsides or not. And to me, it's just, it doesn't actually make me lose confidence in VAR because as much as I hate VAR, it doesn't actually make me lose confidence is a center official who can't go look at the screen and go, hey, look where Kai Wagner is. Maybe the reason they got it wrong is because the announcers couldn't get Kai Wagner's name right the whole game. But the point is, sorry, that annoyed me so much. It is not Wagner. Wagner.
That
From
guy,
Philadelphia. The
K.
dude
Wagner.
is from Germany. Anyway, to be able to know where your players are in the field, you have to be able to figure that out. You have to be able to, if you can draw me inch perfect lines to decide on whether there's or an attacker's arm is past the defender's elbow, then you should be able to figure Wagner was 3 yards out of bounds when that ball was played in.
Yeah, and that's on pro. That's on pro referees. You know, that go inward, and it may very much well result in some changes in how things are done or who is on those games. But something's going to happen. Something. Will you hear about it? Will your favorite MLS blogger be writing an article about it? I'm going to say probably not. But powers at hand, not happy. Regardless, the Union have to move on. And like Justin said, they did not look bad. So you're still
I'll tell you.
Spot. You're still like the teams behind you really shouldn't scare you all that much in terms of who's lurking behind. And it's also only 4 games in.
But the season's over. Supporter Shield is dead, and there's no chance of winning anything when you're 4 points behind a team that you have to play twice this season.
Yes. And St. Louis is going to go undefeated the rest of the season, so there's no way we're catching up to them, right?
True story. And I mean, it's
only
funny
one
because
point behind LAFC still. Only 1 point behind LAFC still.
I mean, the whole thing's funny because, like, I get some of the concerns from behind the start of the season, because, like, I mean, it doesn't look like this is basically the exact same team from last season, but also it's hard for it too, based on just they still had an off season and are working back to full fitness. They are without their starting goalkeeper, and Joe Bendick should be firing into the sun. But like even when all that comes together, we've been here before. Literally, last season, we were here before. While that team had a slightly better start to the actual season, like right out of the gate, they went 7 games without winning a game, over like March, April, and May. And look what they still went out and accomplished. And like, it's not saying that this team is going to be exactly as good as last year's team was. And that's a reason why even recording this podcast, we were just like, make sure you enjoy what you're watching, because this is literally like performance levels that we may never see again, because you can only break every offensive record in the league so many times. But like, there is no reason to be concerned about if this team can compete for MLS Cup 4 games into the season.
Yeah, I mean, my one thing that I was just game that I was kind of, I mean, obviously when you go down a man, like, it's going to be hard. You're going to, you know, especially in the last 5-10 minutes of the game, you're going to have balls thrown, you know, time after time after time, and all you're going to be doing is clearing those balls. But the reality for me, and they did a good job for the from the 80th minute to the 90th minute, like, their ball getting through, and they were doing a great job of defending the box. But my question, I guess, for Jim would be, do you take Mbaizo out in the 80th minute when you're up a goal in the future?
Could be a move.
Yes.
It's a reasonable conversation to have, where you're shifting Wagner to wing back and you bring Bedoya to right wing back and you shrink the midfield a bit. Yeah.
I mean, do you bring Harriel on at that point? Like, obviously a better defender.
I would bring in Damien and go to a back 3.
But they did that and still lost the game.
But they didn't
on a
take
ball
out
that
Mbaizo.
Mbaizo.
So who's your wing back in that case?
Bedoya. If you're going defensive, you might as well just throw him there. Like, why not?
Either way, Mbaizo can't be goal side on and lose to that ball in the air. Like, you have to get to that ball first.
To be absolutely fair, on second goal and the third goal, actions are performed by a defender on an air, they're calling that in the box. That's what I'm saying on those two goals. Okay,
I agree with you, but Mbaizo's got to be a little tougher than that on the third goal. Like, he went down so easy on that play.
Yeah.
As soon as he went down, he was looking for the foul, but like, you have to put up. You can't give up a goal when you're goal side. Like, it's not a.
Yes.
You have to get to the ball.
Yeah. You have to assert yourself in position. I don't know if that is a physical stamina thing or a mental awareness thing on his part. Like, he couldn't anticipate that this move was coming onto him, that Kyoto was going to try to get goal side.
I don't care if you give up a penalty there and lose the game on the penalty. Like, at least give up an open header. You know what I mean? Like,
but also, could Joe Bendik have reacted any slower to a giant looping cross going into the box, literally seeing what side it's going to go to, not getting big, and then getting beaten? Like, we just, I mean,
quality of Joe Bendik. He's such a good character, man.
We got ahead of ourselves when the Union finally won a game that he started, because they don't do that.
Yep. But I'll tell you what, things could really be a lot worse right now.
Well,
when you
they might be.
They might be. This next game is going to be a Jim Curtin's word again.
Oh boy. What do we think about it? What do happen here? Like, genuinely.
We have to get 11 players on the field.
That's the first test.
And the missing list.
A full lineup.
Yeah, once I need to try and find the actual ones.
I have it.
I need to find that. Okay, you have it. Cool.
So, missing this game, Daniel Gazdag for Hungary, Jose Martinez for Venezuela, Dada for Kenya, and your trio, Zach McGlynn and Brandon Craig for the U.S. under-20 men's national team in Spain. Plus Andre Blake and Julian Carranza.
Interesting stuff. Let's build a lineup here for the Union. More than welcome to use this. Absolutely. Like, don't worry about it. We got you. So Chris Donovan is going to start this game. That's just gonna have to happen.
No, I know you're probably right based on who's available. It's just that I am overseeing Chris Donovan on a soccer field.
Well, if you play if you play Torres in that position,
No, I've been going through this mental struggle of how to keep Chris Donovan off the field. And there really is no way that I can see it happen.
So the game doesn't have to be won by him. It's 11 on the field. It doesn't have to go through Chris Donovan if it doesn't have to. All right. Who else is in this lineup? Right? Who else do we got? This is the Union having this conversation right now. It's like, what do you mean all these guys are gone? Who else do we got? We got Torres at the 10. We have Donovan at 9. All right. Who's pairing with him at striker? Who's left?
Well,
Ua?
Uwe.
yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's not bad. All right, midfield. We have Pereira, Bedoya, and Bueno.
Flock.
You got Flock. Okay.
Yeah, the most likely midfield four is Bedoya and Bueno as your shuttlers, Flock as your 6, Torres as your 10.
I'll tell you what, guys. It's not a bad midfield. Not a bad midfield right there. And who do we have in the back? Literally the starting back line? I don't know why y'all are worried. I don't know why y'all are worried.
You have nothing.
Well, you don't have the starting back line because you don't have Bizo. But you still have close to the starting back line. And I hope that you're giving Holden Trent his first start at keeper.
I would certainly entertain it.
I don't think Bizo got called. Is he on yellow card?
Or you think Jim benches him because he ain't got that dog in him.
I didn't see the full call-ups for Cameron, but I mean, he might still get benched. That usually does is. I mean, it usually is the way that this runs. Is whenever he has a bad performance, he's reminded that he needs to earn this start, and then goes on a tear, and you never see Nathan Harriel again.
Hey, look, it's if that's the energy we're getting out of it, then it's time to repeat. You know, let them fight each other. If there's any rotation position on this Union team that's that flexible, it's right back. The one constant being that none of them will ever score a goal for this team ever, because I have put a curse on the Philadelphia Union, and right backs won't score goals ever again, ever again.
We're going back.
Never ever until Ray Gaddis retires. This is on you, Ray. You have to retire, and then the curse will be lifted. But I hope you play out your career to the longest of your ability, because you're a fantastic individual. Like, seriously, take your time with it if Cincinnati's going to keep giving you that bread. But just know that the curse still stands. It does.
I know Orlando doesn't have Galees, which is a big miss for them, but who else are they without?
They had a couple call-ups, I believe.
My only thing, well, you guys looked that up. My only thing about this game is, no, your starting lineup's not that bad, and that's why it's great that the Union have such a deep lineup. Is you can have a B lineup out there and still have a good lineup on the field. My problem is down 2-1 at the end of this game, goal, and like you have nobody. You have Raffanello you're putting on the field. Correa, maybe. You have Nelson and Matt Real. And play on the field. You have like 4 subs in this game, so a little bit like I don't know what.
Also, why does searching Orlando City like call-ups, the first result from the club, it has Daryl Dike and Chris Mueller.
I just pulled that up, Chuck, and I was like, you know what? Find it.
Yeah, it's like what year is this? It's literally
June 2020, right?
Yeah, all the results that come up at first are from 2020. Then like even things that are talking about Louisville.
Oh jeez.
The internet, the world's at your fingertips, so you really got to dig for it, though.
It really doesn't matter, though. Let's play a good game. And some of these guys are going to be playing for time on the field. I think Torres is a guy playing for time on the field. I think
Well, I think he's at least already earned his time on the field based on every time that he steps on the field, something happens. Just again with the attack that the Union have, it's like where are those minutes going to come from? Although, at least for right now, they're going to come from Carranza.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think more what I mean to come. Yeah, he's definitely earned time on the field, but like the 2 games against Atlas and what is it, like 4 games in 12 days or something, April. You have the 2 games. Actually, does Torres get a start in or 2 of those games? How does that play into it? So I just feel like shift, like maybe Jim goes, okay, cool, you're starting both the Atlas games or something. I think you gotta, like, Torres is still playing for time on the field. I think Bueno or Perea, whoever plays, could be playing for time on the field.
Sure.
With a start there. Not to say that Flock has not been effective this. Like, I haven't seen him make a play all season long. So could somebody be playing for his spot on the field? And Glenn's playing for that spot with the U.S. men's national team under 20.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, you're looking at these guys and you're not going, oh no, we're doomed, when you have these fill-in guys. And that's a great problem to have for an MLS team. You need to be that deep if you're going to be able to hold your own at any competitive level, especially with, being one of the few has to deal with Champions League. You're not feeling awful about going into it, which is nice. A nice change of pace. Not worrying about if Fafa Pico has to be a 10-goal scorer for this Union team to make it to the playoffs. We're a little past that, which is bounds and strides. So we're going to try to get through Orlando. We'll see what's going out on the other side here, but we'll be recording before that.
Well, we're going to hope that Justin's situation of needing to win the game after the 60th minute doesn't happen, because that is 100% where concern comes in, because there will not be a game winner on the bench. You have your starting lineup and then some defensive reinforcements.
I disagree. I think Matt Real gets a goal if we need a goal. Matt Real is going to get it, and he's going to be playing at left back, so it's not going to count, and the curse will still be intact.
The sequence of events that would need to happen for Matt Real to score a goal while playing at left back have me even more concerned about how this game would go.
Get it done however you need to. It's like chaos hour, baby.
The conversation with this week is going to be, listen, you're going 90 no matter what. So do not get cards. Like, do not get injured. Nothing happens. You're going 90. Well, there were some positive things in Union World this week, though.
That's right.
Gets a new contract extension.
It's a beautiful thing to see that a team is willing to not have the turnover and really just stick to their guys that they know can do the job and do it well. Glesnes here, I believe, is the extension.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, well done. No notes.
Yeah, well done. No notes.
They really never they never mess up these extension talks, like, so bad that we're questioning the front office. Like, they do it well. To see them doing it early in the season, it's just great. Like, you've already seen that Jacob is well equipped for this.
I mean, he's the best defender in the league, and like even this past game was the best defender in the field by leaps and bounds. So, I'll take it.
Yeah,
you gotta lock up guys like that.
Yeah, and then I mean it's pretty impressive that they keep signing these guys to extensions.
Yeah.
They know what they have here. They have a spotlight. Like they have a good foundation for them. How good they can do on a well-built team, because this Union team is well built. It's well engineered to perform at a high level. That doesn't require an injection of a $10 million man.
Nope.
Yeah, I just don't know how, like, because at a certain point, like, you do kind of have to run into, okay, this person's had so many raises, but we don't have a designated player spot. What do we do? And I am just wondering, like, how close these defenders are to that point where MLS roster mechanics make extending them very finicky.
Sure.
MLS roster mechanics don't actually exist.
They do if you're the Union.
They're about to throw out the rule book for Messi, so we might have to adjust to new life after that, and that might even work in our favor. But we will have to see.
I guess
Gets come to Miami. It's going to change the way MLS will have to do their business.
Well, but wasn't it that the Union weren't allowed to have Zlatan on their discovery list, but other teams are allowed to have like global stars on theirs?
Like I said, changing week by week, bud. We simply don't know, and we can only ever truly comprehend. That's a lifetime journey, and you can join that journey with us. Follow us on VFTB Pod.
Wait, I still have notes that we did not hit.
I'm trying to be the best I can, and this is why I told you before we started recording to just take over whenever you want, Justin.
I just want to talk about let me see, six former Philadelphia Union players. One, Kasper Shabilko decided to score one of the prettiest goals he's ever scored this past weekend for Chicago. That was a nice one. And then Sergio Santos got one for Cincinnati as well to, I think, win both. I think they were game winners. So that was nice.
You got to be proud to see your talent. To see that your talent succeeding anywhere is nice when it's not against you.
Exactly. Paxton Aronson gets his Eintracht Frankfurt debut. So we'll take that as well. And one Austin Trusty gets picked for the U.S. along with Mark McKenzie and Brendan Aronson, but whatever. But Austin Trusty back in the U.S. men's national team picture.
Who was loving life in Birmingham.
Can't say I didn't see it coming at some point, but I mean, it's here. Like, it's happening. This is like,
if you're not going to use John Brooks, you might as well call it Trusty.
I mean, see if he flies. There's not a better time than right now, so let it just be right now. What do you truly have to lose here in 2023? Like, you got to have the flexibility there at that. Find it now before you get close to these qualifiers.
If you're the U.S. men's national team, you have apparently nothing to lose, even though we're World Cup.
You have nothing to lose. Nothing.
All right, now you can end the show.
Super. Well, thank you, Justin. And pass it on to me, and we'll just go ahead and leave you with all of our social media handles, which are VFTB Pod at pretty much. You search that, you will find it on our domain. You will find it on Twitter, on Spotify, on you name it. Views from the Bridge. That's who we are. We love having you guys tell us what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, what you're doing in your life. We're here. We'll listen. And we will talk about it on the show. Great time. Until that next time, though, guys, We got to beat the Orlando team. We got to do it with who we got. And Matt Riel scoring that goal, baby. It's coming. It's coming. Hot take. What's your
That is
score? What's the
bold
score
prediction.
of the game? I give it 2-1. 2-1 to the Union. Matt Riel,
1-1.
game winner.
Yeah, 1-1.
Oh, optimist here. That's all right, guys. We'll be
1-1 is pretty optimistic based on where things are right now.
Nah, you're next. This one. Have a good night, everybody. Go Union. Have the best week you can.